The Essassani Resistance Movement. This is a group that all Earth humans need to know about. But they have a complicated story, which you are about to understand, probably for the first time. If you watch many of our projects here at Farsight, you are aware that we have long described extraterrestrials who operate both on and around Earth, as well as within our galaxy more broadly. All of our data have been collected by highly trained remote viewers always working under blind conditions, including when on video. Moreover, all of our remote viewers have public track records with respect to their use of our methodologies to obtain accurate information that is fully verifiable. It is because we know their public track records with respect to verifiable information that their perceptions for things which are not yet verifiable are highly credible. We consider the data presented in this project to be highly credible because of this.
This being's energy is quite light. Like, it doesn't feel like he's aggressive or hostile in any way. I'm getting pretty good vibes from this being right here.
Well, while working on our many projects, we have often encountered what we might want to call good extraterrestrials as well as bad extraterrestrials. The bad ETs appear to have large slave populations working under their direct control. The slavers are groups who we have identified as reptilians and Orions, and they work across the galaxy in areas controlled by them. In our observations, their slave populations appear mostly to be genetically modified and brainwashed subjects who seem on a surface level to be working voluntarily, in the sense that they don't have someone pointing a gun at their heads and forcing them to work. However, it is clear that these slave populations do not have much in terms of options. They follow rules, and to an outside observer, they appear to work in much the same way that an employee would normally follow the rules of an employer here on Earth. But these slave populations do not seem capable of doing anything else but following the rules that have been laid out for them. They also do not appear to be able to leave and go elsewhere. The subjects who control them similarly appear to be slave populations themselves, and the chain of command appears to be a series of slaves with higher levels of authority until it gets to the very top, which is usually populated by reptilians and Orions.
We need you, and you all need us. All of you are handpicked before you became a flesh in your land. We together can and will change the dynamics of the universe, for you are all slaves too. Stay aligned with your cause. Do not allow anything to waver. Do not fall under their veil.
The ultimate controllers, the reptilians and Orions, do not seem to care much for the slave populations downstream, so to speak, other than to ensure that they continue to maintain control over those populations. The slave populations appear to be conditioned to think that their fate is normal and that this is just what they do. At the bottom rung of the slave populations are subjects commonly known as greys and other subjects who are genetic mixtures of gray and human DNA, and we call these hybrids the Essasani. Well, since the earliest days at Farsight, we have known about a different group within the gray and hybrid Essassani populations. It is a resistance movement. Indeed, in general, it may not be possible to have a large slave population without also having a resistance movement that is opposed to the continuation of that slavery. We at Farsight have long had direct evidence that this resistance movement is very real. More about our involvement with this resistance movement will come out in future months and years.
Subjects, you can see me doing a deep mind probe. Do you know who I am? Subject Z says yes.
But now, focusing on the Essassani Resistance Movement, we have found that there is this group that is aligned with the good ETs and who are very active on Earth. They are much more willing to get involved directly with Earth's human population. We do not see them fighting space opera battles that we humans can witness. Rather, they are active in psychological warfare. And by this I mean that they are pushing for disclosure within humanity regarding all past and present extraterrestrial activity on and near Earth. They know that their future and humanity's future depends on humans being able to control their own destiny, and the only way that will happen is if humans know their past, and that includes full knowledge of the activities of the oppressive extraterrestrials. We call this group the Essassani Resistance Movement, largely because members of that group appear to be predominantly Greys and Essassani hybrids, although they are clearly not limited to only Greys and Essassani hybrids. They seem to be trying to free not only humanity, but also the hybrids, Greys, and other extraterrestrials who are among the large enslaved populations working under the control of the oppressive extraterrestrials.
Please forgive the threats I made to get you to open up. I can assure you that you'll be protected from this interview. Goodbye, Cricket Man.
Well, in this project, we both observe and communicate directly with the Essassani Resistance Movement. And since that group is hugely telepathic, you will now get a chance to see how telepathy works in practice. At Farsight, telepathy is a major element in our work.
Energetics popping off on the surface of this sphere. And then the next result of that is large groups of these subjects being bound and sort of slunched over and sort of just sadly, at least they look sad, walking into these structures, non-surface structures, whatever you would call them, being surrounded by other subjects that look very different and just, padded up with sort of armor and a long object as well. And they're just sort of standing on opposite sides of them like this, while these guys are sort of being escorted into these non-surface structures or into these structures.
Indeed, some of these observations appear to suggest that the Essassani Resistance Movement exists, at least in part, as a group of subjects who work within ships that are controlled by the Reptilian and Orion forces. They appear to be working behind the scenes, at least partially, and this must be dangerous to a considerable extent, and their bravery to operate in this manner should not be underestimated.